It was a night filled with glittering lights, roaring crowds, and an energy so electric it could be felt miles away. At the center of it all was one woman, walking onto the stage with the confidence of someone who had already rewritten the rules of her industry. The roar of the crowd wasn't just applause. It was a celebration of a journey, a testament to countless hours, unshakable resolve, and a belief in something bigger than fame. In that moment, Taylor Swift was doing more than performing. She was owning a milestone that was once a distant dream, yet now a vivid reality. She stood there, overwhelmed, glowing, and for the first time allowed herself to speak from the heart without filters, without rehearsed sound bites, simply with vulnerability, gratitude, and joy. "I am blown away," she said, her voice reflecting as much as accomplishment, because she had just achieved something that will be remembered for years to come. From the very beginning of her career, Taylor Swift's story has been one of evolution, reinvention, and relentless chasing of both artistic growth and genuine connection with her audience. She began as a teenager with a guitar, writing songs about heartache, hope, and the raw emotion of growing up, songs that connected with millions and turned a young girl from Pennsylvania into a global phenomenon. But success, rapid as it was, never changed her hunger to push boundaries, confront her fears, or explore new creative territories. With each album, she chipped away at the invisible ceilings that many artists are told exist, defying genre expectations, battling industry norms, and transforming every setback into inspiration. That night, as she basked in the reality of her milestone, she was celebrating not just a career achievement, but a narrative of resilience that spanned years and touched multiple generations. To understand the significance of this moment, we need to look back at how far she has come. Taylor didn't just rise to prominence. She built her own pathway to the summit. In her earliest years, she was a country music prodigy, with lyrics that felt deeply personal and melodic structures that felt both classic and fresh. But she didn't stop there. She took the risk of venturing into pop, a genre dominated by well-established stars, and she did so with albums like 1989 that not only succeeded commercially but reshaped what pop music could sound like. Then she went further still, experimenting with folk, indie, alternative, always willing to reinvent, to take artistic risks without fear of criticism because she trusted her voice. And that trust, that unwavering belief in her own creativity, is part of why this recent milestone feels so monumental. But what was the milestone exactly? It wasn't just another chart-topping record, another sold-out tour, another headline grab by media outlets. This achievement represented the culmination of something bigger, a moment when audience devotion, artistic integrity, and career longevity intersected in a way that only a few artists in music history ever experienced. It's the kind of achievement that doesn't just reflect numbers or awards, but rather a transformation of cultural impact, a moment when a singer becomes a storyteller for an era, and when millions around the world see their own stories reflected back at them through music. Taylor stood before her audience that night, the roar of fans echoing in every corner of the stadium. She wasn't just looking at a crowd. She was looking at an entire community that she helped build through songs that became soundtracks to breakups and makeups, beginnings and endings, first loves and timeless friendships. From slow ballads to anthemic pop hits, her music had become the emotional backdrop of so many lives. People weren't just listening, they were living with her work. And that connection, that bond between artist and audience, is at the heart of emotional fulfillment for any performer. For Taylor, this milestone was as much about them as it was about her. But reaching that level of connection didn't happen overnight. It happened through authenticity, moments when she shared vulnerability on stage, whether through unexpected acoustic performances or heartfelt speeches that went beyond rehearsed narratives. Her relationship with fans, famously dubbed Swifties, is rooted in reciprocity. She listens to them, acknowledges them, and in return, they amplify her words, her creative expression, and her presence in cultural conversations. What we often forget is that an artist's journey is not only built on talent, but on the willingness to be seen as fully human, to let the world watch you grow, succeed, fail, and continue creating despite it all. The milestone she celebrated that night may be etched into record books, but its true significance lies in something deeper, the way it reaffirms the power of narrative in art. Taylor's journey reflects the truth that success isn't linear, and that embracing vulnerability can be a powerful source of strength rather than weakness. She has openly discussed the pressures of fame, the pain of public criticism, and the challenges of maintaining personal identity within the glare of global attention. Yet, She never abandoned her voice. Instead, she used adversity as creative fuel, turning heartbreak into poetry, critics into catalysts for reinvention, and pressure into motivation for authenticity. In her speech that night, she didn't hide her emotion. The tears in her eyes weren't theatrical. They were real. They were the tears of someone who had invested years of her life into something greater than herself. It was a tale of someone grateful beyond words, someone aware that each choice, each leap of faith, had led to that moment. "I am blown away," she said, not because she didn't expect success, but because she appreciated deeply the journey and the people who walked it with her. It was a rare moment of raw emotional honesty, captured not through tweets or press releases, but in the presence of the crowd that mattered most to her. And the impact of this milestone doesn't stop with the applause that night. It continues to resonate in conversations around artistic agency, creative ownership, and the evolving relationship between artists and audiences in the digital age. Taylor has been at the center of discussions about music rights, streaming value, fan engagement, and transparency in the industry. Her choices, from re-recording her earlier albums to publicly advocating for artist rights, have made her not just a creative force but a cultural influence with lasting implications. Her voice extends beyond melody lines and refrains. It enters conversations about fairness, ownership, and the value of art in a world where consumption is instant but legacy is enduring. As fans absorbed the news of her milestone, reactions poured in from every corner of the globe. Social media buzzed with admiration, gratitude, and shared memories connected to her songs. Celebrities, collaborators, and even industry veterans offered applause and recognition, acknowledging not just a milestone, but the artistry, perseverance, and human spirit behind it. It became clear that this celebration wasn't isolated to one night or one event. It had become a cultural moment, a collective appreciation of an artist who has woven her art into the fabric of modern music history. Yet for Taylor, success has always been about more than acclaim. She has spoken candidly about the meaning of creative fulfillment, that it is not defined merely by numbers or accolades, but by connection, impact, and authenticity. In a world where music can become commodified, she has insisted on preserving the poetry of sound, narrative, and emotional resonance. And that insistence has become one of her defining characteristics, a reminder that artistry is not just what you create, but how deeply your creation touches others. As the night drew to a close and the cheering finally faded into echoes, Taylor reflected not on what she had achieved, but on who she shared it with. It was a moment of gratitude for fans who stood by her through every album cycle, for collaborators who shaped her sound, and for the unpredictable journey that brought her to that point. She spoke of stories yet unwritten, songs yet crafted, and the unending evolution that comes with creative life. Her milestone was not a final chapter, but a chapter in an ongoing narrative of growth, transformation, and artistic exploration. In the end, what made this milestone truly unforgettable wasn't the record itself. It was everything that led up to it. The heartbreak and healing, the public triumphs and private doubts, the connection between artist and admirer, and the way music can tell so many stories at once. Taylor Swift didn't just reach a big moment. She invited the world to feel it with her. And as more milestones inevitably await her on the horizon, albums, tours, artistic collaborations, and personal growth, one thing remains certain. Her journey is far more than a timeline of achievements. It is a living, breathing story of risk and reward, of vulnerability and victory, and of the shared human experience that art has the power to capture and release. In honoring this moment, we honor the truth that creativity is not something we chase to impress others. It is something we pursue because it reflects the deepest parts of who we are. And in that truth, Taylor Swift's milestone stands not just as an achievement, but as an invitation to dream bigger, create fearlessly, and connect authentically, no matter the heights we reach.